Welcome into another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today, I'm giving takes on 4 rookies taken in round 3 of the NFL Draft. Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe if you haven't. Let's go. First up, our cover player, Trey Benson. So, Trey Benson, I hoped he would go in the second round, but he actually went in the 3rd round, 66th overall, to the Arizona Cardinals. Let's look at his fantasy fit. Good draft capital for a running back. Again, I hoped it was the 2nd round, but early 3rd is fine. He's going to start as the clear RB2 behind James Conner. There's no one else relevant on the depth chart. Amari DiMercado and Michael Carter don't count. And Conner is a free agent after 2024, so he has the opportunity to earn the long-term starting job. Where does that put Trey Benson? I have him at 204 in my rookie ranks. Just behind Michael Penix in Superflex, Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman are ahead of him. And Ricky Pearsall and Xavier Legette are behind him. In startups, I have him running back 15. That sounds good, right? I mean, among running backs, that's a solid ranking. But it just goes to show you that a running back who's just I like him. I like Trey Benson a lot. Who went in the early 3rd round is RB15. So it's not a great running back landscape, which is why we come to my verdict. He's kind of a sell for me. I don't hate the rookie price of 204. I've heard of people wanting to take him in the 1st round. I'm not going to do that. I have Jonathan Brooks as my clear RB1. It's not even close. I've heard of people wanting to take him over Keon Coleman or Ladd McConkey. I'm not going to do that. So wide receivers who are good prospects in good situations. So unfortunately, I don't really have any interest in his price where I think it's going to be in rookie drafts. I have no interest in his price where it's going to be in a startup. I can guarantee you, if I could go across from Trey Benson to other players or for a 25 first, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of Trey Benson. So, yeah, again, it's a player. I like the player, but just kind of where running backs slot in, he's mostly a sell for me. Our next player, Malachi Corley. I thought Malachi Corley was going to go in the 2nd round. I think the Jets wanted him in the 2nd round, but they only had to trade up to the 1st pick of the 3rd round to get him, 65th overall. And it's an interesting fit for Malachi Corley here. Okay, draft capital. I would have liked the 2nd, but 65th overall, early 3rd is good. He'll compete for wide receiver 2 with Mike Williams and my favorite dynasty stash, Xavier Gipson. Behind wide receiver 1, Garrett Wilson. They did not take Brock Bowers, so Malachi Corley was their addition to the room this year. And they have Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is already 40. So we can't rely. I mean, maybe he'll be Tom Brady and play 5 more years, but we cannot rely on Aaron Rodgers being there for more than a year or 2. Where does that land Corley in Superflex rookie drafts? 302 to 303 for me. I like Corley. But is he going to overtake Mike Williams this year? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Aaron Rodgers' track record with liking rookies is not good. He usually prefers to lean on veterans. So I'm a little skeptical that Malachi Corley is going to be great immediately. And it's just hard to take him in the 2nd round. I just can't get there. So because of that, I have him in the early 3rd. And if, you really need a running back and you want to take some of these 4th round running backs over him, I really don't have an issue with that. Dynasty value range, I have him like wide receiver 55. It kind of in a range with, if you want to hear some players who I have similar to him, I actually have Khalil Shakir in his value range. Wan'Dale Robinson, a 2nd round pick for the Giants a couple years ago, who's kind of had some flashes. Cortland Sutton is in the value range. Those are some players that are Jacoby Myers, kind of a more boring, but a player we know produces. Those are players who are in his value range in Dynasty. So the verdict in rookie drafts, I think you'll be able to get him at that 302, 303, maybe even later. So I could see myself having some Malachi Corley shares. In startups, though, he's going to go too late. And I think he's going to be a buy for me because people are going to take boring, productive players like they're boring, you know, like your Demario Douglas, Curtis Samuel, Gabe Davis, you know, older players like Brandon Cooks or even Mike Williams over Corley. And I'd rather take my shot at a wide receiver who has upside in that range over some of those boring players. So in a startup, he'll be a buy for me. Rookie drafts, fairly priced, probably a buy. And he has a path to immediate playing time, which is something that's always something I like to see for a rookie. He's not totally buried on the depth chart. Next up, Jermaine Burton. Now, Jermaine Burton, someone I really like. I really like Jermaine Burton. And I loved his destination. He went to the Bengals, 80th overall. And this is a great fantasy fit here. He has Joe Burrow. He's an elite thrower who doesn't run much. It's exactly what you want. A lot of passing attempts, no running from the quarterback, especially not after all his injuries, the leg injuries. Burrow's not going to be running. So that's great. T. Higgins, we know, still wants out. Is he going to get out this year? Probably not. Will he be there in 2025? Definitely not. So Burton has the opportunity to earn the wide receiver 2 job behind Jamar Chase in 2025 if he plays well this year. And we know that Burrow even supported 3 wide receivers in the past with Tyler Boyd there. So in rookie drafts, I have Burton actually 1 spot ahead of Corley. And, you know, 301, 302 range. And that puts him in that same wide receiver 55 range. But I like Burton better. And I think people might have it the other way around. So for me, Burton is a strong buy. I'm a big fan of the long-term upside of Jermaine Burton. This is a good prospect. This is a prospect who played well in college. He played well. And I heard a lot of, as Chris Ballard would say, anonymous character concerns about Jermaine Burton. No real evidence, you know, for that. But just a lot of concerns that I don't know. Are they going to translate to the NFL? Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe the Bengals got a steal. So we're going to have to see about that. But it's not going to stop me from drafting Jermaine Burton. And yeah, I really like the fit here. Next up, Roman Wilson. So Roman Wilson is a player that I loved coming into the NFL draft process. I thought he would go in the 2nd round, and he did not. He actually fell 84th overall to the Steelers, but he got everything we wanted for a day 2 3rd round pick, which is hard to find. It's very rare that a 3rd round pick is immediately wide receiver 2 on the depth chart, but that's what he is here. He is wide receiver 2 behind George Pickens. They have no one else. They have Van Jefferson, who has been around so long and has never done anything, and Calvin Austin, who was 4th round pick 2 years ago and has never done anything. So he's immediately wide receiver 2 on the depth chart. That's good. Bad news, it's weak passing offense and Arthur Smith. Those are bad things. But I have Roman Wilson in the 211 range in Superflex rookie drafts. He's actually my favorite of these 3rd round wide receivers. And a lot of that is because I just can't shake the idea that the Steelers always hit on every day 2 wide receiver. So I put him in the wide receiver 50 range. I'm a big fan of what he brings to the table. And obviously for those reasons, I have Wilson as strong buy. He has the path to opportunity and playing time. So, you know, Jermaine Burton is right now the wide receiver 3 on the team. Same thing for Malachi Corley. But Roman Wilson is clearly the wide receiver 2. And you just need to get a chance. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do as a round 3 receiver, to get a chance to really show what you have to offer. Some of them just never do. So the fact that he has that opportunity is something that I like. And I think he's going to fit in very well on the Steelers. Now, if you like the video so far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, I have Patreon questions. I have 2 questions from patrons, and we will jump into those right now. If you want to ask your own, make sure to sign up at that link, patreon.com/fantasyadvice. You can sign up. How much, this is very funny that this was asked. How much runtime does Trey Benson, actually get this year? Or is this a learn from a solid vet and take over next year when Connor is a free agent kind of thing? Well, in redraft, I'll probably stick with Connor as the starter, but definitely downgrade him from where I would have ranked him if they didn't draft Benson. Starting fast is important in redraft, and Connor will get the first shot. But James Conner is 29 years old with a long injury history and a free agent after 2024. I really do think that Trey Benson will be the starter before the year is over. I think he sees playing time right from the start. The Cardinals have overused and overworked James Conner over the years. So overall, I like the idea of having Trey Benson even on a redraft roster, especially if he comes at a lower price. With the Chargers taking a tackle and a wide receiver through 2 rounds, are you expecting a bounce back year for Justin Herbert? Well, honestly, I'm a little bit scared. First of all, I hope Herbert stays healthy, which he didn't do last year. But Ladd McConkey in his first season is not replacing Keenan Allen. I like Ladd McConkey. Is he going to come in and be better than Keenan Allen was in 2023? The odds of that are close to 0 because Keenan Allen was a wide receiver 1 in 2023. So in redraft, I might be a little bit down on Justin Herbert. I think that they're a year away from putting it all together, as in they're a year away from giving him the real weapons that he needs. I mean, yes, Ladd McConkey is fine. Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer, I mean, that's your wide receiver 2 and 3. They don't really have much at tight end. So, yeah. However, in Dynasty, Justin Herbert is still just 26. He remains a strong buy. He has the massive contract. They're not getting out of it. Justin Herbert is going to be the franchise quarterback for the Chargers for the next 3 years at a minimum, probably more like the rest of the contract, which is, I believe, 5 more years. So there is no reason to not value Justin Herbert as a franchise quarterback. Now, would I invest the price it would cost? Maybe, maybe not, because his value might go down even more if he doesn't deliver fantasy numbers this year. But I know that Justin Herbert is, I don't know if I want to say elite, but I want to say very, very good. And my opinion of that is not going to change. So even if he doesn't deliver for fantasy next year, I'm still going to be in the future when they get more weapons for him. And they will eventually get more weapons for him. They just had to clear out all their cap. This is what they had to do. Isn't what I would have done, but this is what they did. So they'll have an opportunity next year in free agency and the draft to restock the cupboard even further now that they've gotten rid of all their bad contracts. If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I've picked up a lot of subscribers over the past few months, and I want to hit 3,000 before the NFL season kicks off. That's my goal. And of course, sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/fantasyadvice. But until next time, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you all later.